Good evening everyone. I am Kenneth B. Natat, represent the Group 2. I'm going to discuss our topic which all about what are the characteristic of global city. There are 7 characteristics of global city. First is home to major stock exchanges and indices. Second is influential and international political affairs. Third is home to world-renowned cultural institutions. Fourth, service a major media hub. Fifth is large mass transit networks. Sixth is home to a large international airports. And lastly is having a prominent skyline. Home to major stock exchanges and indices, it means that all the money came from that certain city. For example, our government has DPWH has stock money for all the project in that certain city. Next is the third characteristics I'm going to discuss is home to world-renowned cultural institutions. It is needed a home to world-renowned institutions since it is the most influential city. For example, like in Metro Manila, we have Malacanang. It is an example for our influential cultural because since that our first president na dara siya ga puyo, mo na to ang influential cultural sa Osaka city in Metro Manila. Thank you.
Hi, this is Cadet Carilla. I'm here to discuss the fifth characteristic of a global city, which is large mass transit networks. Example of which are the transportations, which are buses, subways, trains, or in the Philippines, the most commonly public service or the most commonly used public service is the jeepneys. So, large mass transit networks, it means that the transportation are highly high-tech in that area, much faster and more accessible, which helps the transportation of goods, whether it is processed or raw materials. It also enhances the mobility of the people, which is highly advantageous for the people living in these cities because it creates less traffic and the transportation services are more faster. That's all.
Hi, I'm Cadet De La Torre Ronel, and I'm here to discuss about what are the characteristics of global city. First of all, what is a global city? Global city, also called a power city, world city, alpha city, or world center, is a city which is a primary node in global economic network. And so, what are the characteristics of global city? So there are 7 characteristics of global city. The one characteristic is influential in international political affairs. Within that city, there are a lot of politicians since it is the source of stock and money. That is why it is highly influential with regards to political affairs. For example, Asian Summit. So, sa Asian Summit, magtapok ang mga member or magmeeting ang mga member sa Asian Southeast Asian. Meaning magsabot sila sa unsaon pag-improve sa economic sa isa ka country. That's all. Thank you.
Hi, I am Mariano Bandalaya and I am tackling about the fourth characteristic of a global city. And it is the service a major media hub. So, first, let's discuss what is the role of media in making a country a global city. So, the mass media are seen today as playing a key role in enhancing globalization, facilitating culture exchange and multiple flows of information and image between countries through international news, broadcasts, television, programming, new technologies, film, and music. So, mass communication that reaches across the world. Today, that includes from traditional media such as TV, radios, and newspapers to social media like YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Thanks to satellites and the internet, even the most regional news can be found and accessed through the entire world. For example, television companies like ABS-CBN, GMA, etc. They change considerably since the advent of digital technology in terms of its production, distribution, and consumption. It it has become a global rather than a national industry and has become increasingly commercial with public service broadcasting forced to adapt its structure, role, and function. Okay, that's all for the fourth characteristic of a global city. Thank you.
So, good day. I'm Cadet Dixler de Lima and I'm Group 2. I will report the home to large international airport. So, an international airport is an airport with customs and border control facilities enabling passengers to travel between countries. International airports are usually larger than domestic airports and often features longer runways and facilities to accommodate the heavier aircraft commonly used for internal and intercontinental travel. International airports often also host domestic flights. Buildings operations and management have become increasingly sophisticated since the mid-20th century, when international airports began to provide infrastructure for international civilian flights. So, the international airports is the way to flight from different countries and to have vacation, and it's the way to easy to travel from different countries. Thank you.
This is Cadet Tapo Franklin, and I'm going to discuss having a prominent skyline. Skyline is the outline or shape viewed near the horizon. It can be created by a city overall structure or be human intervention in a rural settings or in a nature that is formed where the sky meets the building or the land. City skylines serve as a fingerprint as no two skylines are alike for this reason. News and sports programs, television shows, and movies often display the skyline of a city to set a location.